Go. Okay, so let's try this again. For some reason, I quit there. And let's just see if we get me back on. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, so like I was saying, I have a tendency to go to the paint section and start pulling their paint palette cards to bring back home and start playing with the different color combinations myself. So this is where part of the inspiration for tonight came from. So Jose had asked, had given me this stamp set here to work with, and this was my inspiration also to see what I can come up with using this a stamp set. So this stamp set is actually by Elizabeth Crafton Designs, and it is CS225-kindness. Okay, and there we go. So that's my inspiration for this. So once I got my background tinted, okay, I decided to start pulling colors and start working with different colors to create my backgrounds and come up with different color combinations, etc., sort of thing. So I started with my darkest, which I will do right here. And I'm actually using, this is the Distress Paint, and I'm using Scorched Timber. Okay, and I just started placing lines wherever I wanted. And remember, you're the artist. You might want some thin lines. You want some thicker lines. You may want them intersecting. Okay. And let's just put something down here. Now, the other thing I did before I finished up with the paint is that I would put in a little extra into my little spot here. Okay, and oh, where's my tweezers? Here we are. Just pick up a little extra of the paint and just do some really healthy splatters. You know, you're the artist. And actually, you know, when I finished the cards the first time, my husband popped into my room and he went, wow, like he was impressed. That hasn't happened for a while. So that was kind of cool. And then you're just going to move on to your next color selection. My hit of real color with this, I chose, it is Broken China, but I thought, wow, this gives a really nice pop of color. And I used this one just a little bit more sparingly, because it's a strong color. And so it was just thicker lines, thin lines. And just spread it around. Not too much of this one because it, like I said, it is a strong color. Just little bits here and there. Okay, and then again, load up your brush and give some really good splatters. Okay, there we go. Really good splatters. There we go. Okay, this is where you really get to have lots of fun, play around, and really get in there with lots of different colors. And my water is getting kind of muddy already. Okay, so another pop of color, because I was going to be using the flowers. I tried to think of, okay, what color do I want to bring out in my flowers? And I wanted it to be very soft. I didn't want it to be a heavy color. And I just thought, okay, let's put some pink in there. And the green would, which is the crushed olive, the green will be for the leaves. So this is going to be like dual purpose. So put some pink in here. And you know what? Mix in a little dab of this one. Play around, have some fun. Okay. And this will jazz it up a bit. Remember, this is your creative piece. Okay. And I'm just going to try to put in some color here and there. See how it's going to work out. Because remember, okay, that your flowers are going to be going on top of this. Okay, and let's fix that up just a little bit. Take it right to the top. Take it off to the sides, because I found that with this size of piece of paper that I had, I could actually get 2 cards out of it, okay? And which is kind of good. I got a small card and a large card. There we go. Okay, let's clean that. And move on to the green. Now, this one here, like I said, was crushed olive. I really like this color. It's that, oh, that's a different color green. And it just up against the pink and the broken china, it just really adds something. It's kind of like, whoa, that's kind of cool. And again, whoops. Take it off the sides, take it up the top there. Okay, now I have extra here, so we're just going to do some nice healthy splatters. And maybe we might need just a little bit more. Good healthy splatters in there. Now you could add a bit of white if you want, because you've got your tinted background, so the white would stand out, and it might just add that little bit of lightning, not lightning, but lightening. So let's, you know what? Let's give it a try. What have we got to lose? And of course, sometimes I find that I just have to lay the colors down, walk away, have a cup of coffee with a lid on it, not like I did this morning and had to start all over again. But as you can see there, see how that white just adds that little bit of spark. Okay, now the other thing that I tried the other day was that I had white, and then on the other side one end I did green, so that, let's just see if I can find a spot. Let's try this one right here. There. See how you get the white on one side, and then you can go back in and spread it. So you're actually, you've got the white, but you've got some green in there too. So loading different colors on both sides of the brush sort of thing can kind of give you some neat effects. Okay, so there we have that. So this here will have to sit off to the side and dry, and I have one here that's almost done, and hopefully by the time I get back to the other one it'll be more dry. If not, we just turn on the dryer, and let's just try some of this right here. See how it just perks it right up? And you're just adding it here and there. Okay. Because like I said, once you've got your flowers done, okay, at this point, you're not sure exactly where your flowers are going to end up, or at least I didn't, because I was wanting to get this part created, which was, like I said, something new for me, something unusual, but just trying to explore different backgrounds, trying to create more of my backgrounds. I think I'm going to try more color combinations, and hopefully maybe color combinations that would work with my nails. But anyways, so let's just try this. We'll take this up here and that off to the side, off to this side here. Okay, and load it up, because we're going to do some more healthy splatters in here. I love these splatters. It just makes it more unique and makes it look more like art. You know, like those the artists at Koymans. I was watching Koymans today because they were showing new artists that they have in the studio. Okay, so we've got this one too prepped. Now the thing is with this too is that you can add in stamps, okay, textured stamps. And with the card that I created, you'll notice here, okay, I have the studio light. This is dotted circles. This again gives it another texture. So we'll just pull this out, and I think I've got a couple of spots here where I can do it. You may want to wait until you've decided where your flowers are going to go, where you're going to cut your paper. If you're just going to do one, if you're working on a journal page and you're just doing the one sheet, then there is that. Okay. And I'm using the VersaFine Clair Nocturne. Okay, and I'm just going to peel this up, and I'm just going to lay that in, which is kind of cool because, like I said, it gives it another texture. And you can always add more in once you have decided on where exactly your flowers are going to go, okay? The other thing that you can possibly do too, and if you want to add a little bit of sparkle, okay, is that you could just, once you've got your flowers, okay, you can just put this in, rub it on there, And ta-da! You got really cool dimension in there as well. You've got that glam. Okay, so you can see how you've got that little bit of sparkle, and you can place your flowers around it. So another option of using your foil papers. Okay, so once I had gotten this to the point where I thought, okay, let's go play and start making my flowers. We're just going to put this off to the side for the time being, over in that corner. I did my stampings. Okay, so I did the large flower here. Okay, so I did this one here. I did this one, and then this one here. You've got other flowers here. You've got flower petals. So depending on your page or your card, you could even do some of these flower petals, paint them, fussy cut them, and then have them as if they're falling away from the flower, which always makes it really interesting as well. So we're just going to start with this. So because of the backgrounds that I had created, I decided that I wanted the flower to be more white because I wanted it to pop off my background. Okay, so what I did then is I decided I was going to use the soft pink that I had, which is spun sugar. And I brought back the crushed olive to put into this, okay? So with this, I suggest before you fussy cut your flower, get your paintings done, okay? Get the painting done. And you'll notice here that I have a very fine brush. And I'm just going to go in. I'm going to lay down some water on the leaves. Give it a chance to set in. And then I will come back with my paint. Okay. So what I do is I just, a little bit, and I'm going to just start in the corner and just sweep it up. So more of the color at the base, because that's where your leaf would be the darkest. Okay, and then just sweep it up. And then soften your edge there so you can see that. Okay, so let's do another one. Okay, at the base. And then a little bit of water on the brush there. Just sweep it up. And then soften that edge. Okay. Here we go again. At the base. Blot that off. Sweep it up. Blot it off. And then soften that edge right along there. So you can see how quickly it goes. And then we'll just finish off this last leaf here. Again, like I said, it's going to be darkest, closest to the stem. And there we go. We're off to a grand start. Now, when it came to the flower, okay, I tinted that pink, so we are going to, I wanted the pink to be very, very soft. Very soft. So I'm just going to show you here. Again, I laid down the water. And then blot off my extra, and then just a tiny bit, because you've got some really fine lines in here that you want to keep. But again, you do want the darker color closest to the center of the flower, and then you're just going to sweep it out. Now you can always add more color afterwards, but lay down the first layer. And sometimes, you know, your brush might have too much. Now, there are a lot of lines on these flowers. You'll notice the black lines there. Don't worry about those. You can paint over them, because what I did is I went back in with my micron markers and added the black back in. Touched it up, if you will. Okay, and now we're just going to sweep that out, blend it out, and it still keeps it nice and soft. Okay, and then you could go in if you wanted to with a little bit darker color. And I do like working with this really fine brush, because for me personally, it just gives me, or allows me, a little bit more control. So this part can be time consuming, but you can see how it's turning out really well. I'm really liking that. So, as I mentioned, you can go back in with your micron pen, okay, once your paper is dry. And you can just, because while you're painting, you might go over some of the black lines and such, and you can just add them back in, okay? So we will, I'm just going to go on and do a little bit more in here. And just so that you can see, so I'm starting with the lightest pink. And I'm just fanning that out. Kind of laying down a base, if you will. Okay, and you can see there that I went on that line, but that's okay, because as I was fussy cutting, okay, I was adding or touching up the black spots, the black lines, the black dots from the flowers here. And I really like having the softer tone underneath. See, there we go. And it's giving more depth, okay? So, once I got this all painted, because I did all the leaves and then I did the flowers, then I decided on which one of these I was going to add in to the cards. Now, before I touch my cards, I just want to wipe my hands here, because I got paint all over the place, especially me. And my nails. Oh, gosh. I'm going to go back to the spa. They're going to go, Donna, what have you been up to? Painting everything. Wow, and such strange colors for you. They're used to me. I used to go to the spa and a nail salon to get my nails done, and I always had black. Give me black, give me gray. I've branched out to kind of like a Wedgwood blue here lately, trying something new. Okay, so for the smaller card, this one here, you'll notice what I did is I trimmed out this section and these leaves so that you can see right here, because I wanted them to lay on top of the flower and kind of give a different dimension. Now, I had actually even thought, you notice here that these little guys are painted. I even thought about possibly, you know, jazzing them up a little bit, putting seed pearls on there and whatnot. And then I decided, no, I'm just going to keep it really clean and simple, you know, because my background is kind of busy, and I like simple, and to me this did it. So once I got these all painted, I then decided, I got busy with the fussy cutting. Now, I went in and chopped these up. And I didn't quite decide that I was only going to use these two parts until towards the end. This one here is on the larger card, but it's in behind. Okay, with this on top, the larger image on top, and I've actually used dimensional foam to kind of give it some lift. Okay, now, so when I decided on this one here, I actually just went in. Now, fussy cutting, I really enjoy fussy cutting. I will spend time, you know, with my husband while we're watching TV, but actually I'm just sitting there fussy cutting. And I find it very relaxing. Now, I really enjoy using these scissors. These are Elizabeth Craft fine point scissors. I like them because they're easier on the hand. Because they've got that spring in them, your hand doesn't have to work as hard. And because I do have arthritis in this hand, this makes it so much easier. So you want to get in really nice and close. And yes, I know the stems are skinny, but that's why I say do your painting beforehand, okay? Now, you can go in there and trim these up. And you can leave a little bit extra on the side along the edge of your stems. You can just leave a little bit extra, because what you're going to do, you're going to come in with a black marker. At least this is what I did, okay? And I'll show you here. You'll see here along the edge, there's just a couple of spots here where I take the marker, my marker, I come in from the back because, pardon me, if the marker gets away from me, the lines will show up on the back and they're not going to show up on the front. But you see how there's this white edge right here on this leaf and this leaf here. It's gone. And this is what I did for this when I was making my cards, is I just went in and cleaned up the edges, made them black. Okay, it sharpened it up for me. And you'll notice here, there's still a little bit of an edge, and you just get in there. But like I said, come in from the back, and then you'll see how the bits are fragile, but they're not, okay? And I'm just going to come in from the back and then move this over, blacken that up, because I did give a little extra to the stems. There we go. And then you can double check your image to see if there's any where there's white spots showing. That's what I wanted to do to kind of give it a sharper image and not to have the white showing on the background. Okay, so this background is still a little damp, a little wet. So we'll be drying that. And this one is actually pretty good. There's not too much of it that isn't dry. So all in all, this is a quick card or quick process because, like I said, you can create several sheets at one time and just put them off to the side to dry. Once you've got because once you've got your backgrounds created, then you can start creating your florals and kind of play with the idea of, you know, how you want to have them laid out. Now, this size of paper that I have here, let me just turn this off for a second. It is 6 inches by 9, so it's a 6 by 9, and I actually got the 2 cards out of the one sheet. I did frame it up with a black frame because to me it's just bringing out more of that, picking up the black from the image, outline image of the flowers. So just to show you, this one here is pretty much done. I'll dry. So my tweezers are right here. So what I did is I decided where I wanted to have it. Okay, where I was going to do my placement, and I kind of liked, I think right about there would be good. So then I will just take a pencil and I'm going to, let's just see, if I do that there, yep, I can get that. Okay, so I'm going to be doing the same thing, kind of placing this up here. I like the texture that's in there, okay, and I'm just going to move this up, and I'm going to decide I'm going to cut my paper right about here. Now I do keep all my scraps because, as I've said previously, what I like to do is use my scraps to decorate my envelopes. Now, if I can find, okay, hold on just a second, I'll be right back. I'm just going to cut this up. Okay, so here we go. So flower will go in here, and I will trim this up. Okay, I do like that little touch of sparkle there. I think I might keep that there for my next card, because actually this card will be going to my niece. We've just found out that she's expecting her first child, and my husband is her godfather, so we will be sending something off to her. So this will be a nice card. I do think I'll add another touch of the foil, just little bits here and there, and this is the glue should dry a little bit more so that it's a little bit more tacky, I want to say. But for the sake of this video, we're kind of speeding that up. So let's just try this now. See, there's just a little touch of the foil in there that's just coming out of the top. We might have to bring this down just a little bit so there's more showing here. I might add more down here. But this is the smaller card. But you can see how it really starts to pop, because you are then going to frame it up with the black, and this will be trimmed up a little bit more, but it really does set it off quite nicely. And like I said, we get 2 cards out of this. And this part here will be parts that I will trim, and it will go on the envelope and add a nice little touch to the envelope, because I always try to do a coordinating envelope. This one here, I may add some of the foil here, but maybe in a different color. But you've got plenty of options, as long as you can stay out of the paint. You've got plenty of options to work with. This stamp set, like I said, fabulous to work with, because you've got so many possibilities, and I like being able to paint. Now, that being said, I could also see this, once you've created your backgrounds and such, I could see going in with some inks. You could even do spray inks to create your background if you don't want to paint. But you could actually just take these guys, okay, and put them into your ink, and put those into your, transfer the ink color into just the center of your flower, if that's what you want. These are very good for working with the inks. So that's another possibility. You can, because of the watercolor paper, there's so many different ways to use the watercolor paper with your paints, because you can just, once you've got your background all done, you see here, I'm thinking I need more splatters for this piece. Put that off to the side there. And yeah, it does. I'm thinking I need some pink splatters in here, but I like really good, healthy splatters. And that's just a little bit too much. And you can always soak these up. And there we go. Let's just try that again. I want healthy splatters. I want more of that artist look. There we go. That's what I want. Now, they may take a little bit longer to dry, but it really looks more like a canvas with the splatters on there. For me, it does. And I think, you know, if you were to take the flower, you could, if you were doing like a page, you could definitely put this in here as a page. Let me just make sure there we go, like that. Okay, you have room to make notes. You have room to add, like floral stamps. Okay, add the foil to it. You could even add some bugs in there, you know, like the Buttons Galore. They have really cute little ladybugs. Although the ladybugs with the red, I would maybe just do one, because that pop of red is really going to catch the eye. And for me, the showcase here is showing off the flowers here. Okay, so that be that. Very simple, very quick. The time-consuming part, of course, is the painting of the flowers. The background goes very quickly. The flowers is the one that is a little bit more time consuming. But like I said, you could just go in with inks and just kind of sponge in the center and give it more of a wash if you don't want to sit and do the actual painting. So let's review. Distress paints. Okay, I used sponge sugar. I used crushed olive. I used china, broken china. This is also a good one too. Brushed corduroy. It's going to look great with blacks and whatnot. And I used scorched timber. Okay. Then, like I said, paint first. Pardon me, especially your flowers. Paint these guys first, then do your fussy cut. Okay. Once you've got your flower all fussy cut, then remember to, what I like to do, although everyone's a little bit different, because of the way I was visioning it, was to take your black marker and just go along the edge, cover up that white edge, because to me it just, with this background, it's just making the image that much sharper, having that black edge and not having the white show. To me, it just really sharpens it up. Let's see, remember, come in from the back. So when it comes to let me just see, now that I've been checking my notes, when it comes to cutting the flowers here, and getting really in there, because when I fussy cut, I like to get right in there and try to get as much of the image be the image as opposed to some of the background. So what I do is, like here, I get my X-Acto knife and I start it to make it easier to get the scissors in there and really clean it out. Okay, now there are parts here. There's this part here, yep, and this one here. I opted to cut this one out, but you could paint these green as the coming from the stem, the part of the flower, if you did not want to fussy cut those out. But as you can see, it just makes it so much easier if you get in with your X-Acto knife, and then you can get in with your scissors and just take your time and really get in there and get as close as you want. Because remember, even in this section, I used my black marker, and I'll just show you once I get this all trimmed out. But again, I came in from the back, because if by chance, I should lose control or drop or something, the marker, the effect is going to be, or the oops, I guess I want to say, will be on the back of it, and not, if you're going on here and you lose control, it could end up going through your flower. Okay, so that's why I come in from the back, and it just cleans it right up. Get in there. Now, like I said, I did leave a little bit extra along the stem lines because I wanted to give them just a little bit more body, I want to say. And then I can go back in and tidy it up. And then again, come in from the back. And just clean that edge up. And I do this even with, my cards, if I'm bordering them. Sometimes, you'll cut into paper, and the paper has not the color edge, but it's got like a white edge to it. I will get a marker that's as close as possible to the color and color it so I don't have that white edge showing. But there you can see it's black and it's not going to show. So I think that's about it. I've covered everything. Like I said, these little guys, these are great because, like I said, I do have arthritis in my hand, and I think the doctors refer to it as hand energy units. If you can make it easier on your hands, then there we go. So I hope I've inspired, passed along some good knowledge. I like using, by the way, I use flower tubes to protect my X-Acto knife. And also I have another one that I use to, here we go, protect my scissors. Hopefully I've inspired you, pass along some good techniques, encouraged you to explore working outside your usual color range. This was a big exercise for me. And thank you, Jose, for passing along the stamp set that kind of got me thinking this way, for starters. So again, just to finish off, here are the two projects. Okay, and I think I did this one here. Thanks for listening. I came across this sentiment, and I thought, this time of year, we've got, a lot of people dealing with the weather and the January blues. And sometimes you just need a friend to vent to, or a friend to listen. And it's kind of a nice way to say, you know what? Thanks for coffee. Thanks for listening to me. It really helped. So anyways, thank you so much for all that have joined in tonight. Hope this was helpful, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much. Bye.